Hello guys and gals, and this is another movie review for 100% Wolf. Now, I have done a movie review of this in the past, but it only covers some of the superficial points of the film. And I thought I should probably do a second one so I could delve deeper into it. And yes, this one will contain spoilers. So I figured I could make another video since the other one didn't have any spoilers at all. Anyways, what is the movie about? Let's basically start by finding out what the movie is actually about. Um, on the surface, and actually on a deeper level, the movie is about misunderstanding. The people misunderstand the werewolves because the werewolves are big and scary, so the people assume they're evil, when actually it's the werewolves that are actually saving people from burning buildings and basically helping society. Um, the werewolves have a misunderstanding with the dogs because they see them as a lesser form of life. And it's to the point to where um, the protagonist, the antagonist, the bad guy, where the bad guy basically wants all the dogs destroyed. So there really is a lot of misunderstanding there. And the dogs misunderstand the werewolves. There's a misunderstanding between them because they see them as being bloodthirsty, and they actually believe that the dogs believe that the werewolves are actually eating dogs and just basically wicked and evil. And it could possibly be because one of the werewolves actually owns a dog shelter, and none of the dogs ever come out of the dog shelter. With good reason. Because, again, as I said, the werewolves hate the dogs, the humans hate the werewolves, and the dogs hate the werewolves. So, there's that. So it's kind of a three-way pyramid triangle kind of thing going on with people misunderstanding each other. I think that's more of a thing. There's a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication there. Another reason that the humans don't like the werewolves is because the werewolves can't speak human when they're in werewolf form, so they can only speak canine, and so humans can't understand them. This comes into play when Fleischhart, which is Freddy's dad, Freddy being the poodle there, when Freddy's dad tries to save this ice cream guy, Foxwell Crip. But he's too afraid, and it turns out that yeah, while Foxwell has good intentions, he fears the werewolves, and ultimately Fleischhart falls off the cliff and is presumed dead. So Freddy is raised by his uncle. Anyway, so there's a lot of misunderstanding there because the people don't realize it's the werewolves that are saving everybody. Yeah, we already went over that. Anyways, it's I don't even remember how many years later it is, but the movie shifts from when Freddy's a kid to where Freddy is actually ready to turn into a werewolf or whatever. And that's when basically he turns into a poodle instead. And I'm not sure what the familiar name is, but his uncle's kids basically capture him and dye his tail and his hair pink, but he gets away. And that's when he meets Batty the dog. But anyways, but basically everything works out because the message here is basically to be yourself, even if it's not popular to be yourself. There's songs in there about being yourself and stuff like that. Very good message to instill. And Freddy later is true to himself, even when he turns into a poodle the second time. But because you expect him to, he found himself, so now maybe he'll be a big, strong werewolf, but he isn't. But it all works out because he really mends the rift between not only humans and werewolves, but also between the werewolves and the dogs themselves. So again, that's spoiler territory, and I'm afraid I'm sorry I didn't give you any warning ahead of time, but this movie is really worth a watch, I feel. And that's why I've done 2 reviews of it, is because um, a lot of people rather, probably don't like the film. And it does have kind of a iffy plot. It could have been a lot better, I would think, but overall, it isn't a bad movie. Um, let's see. Let's go over some of the other things here. One thing is that, and I mentioned this in the last one, is that when werewolves transform, at least in this iteration of Werewolf 4, at least in this movie, they're fully clothed, obviously. But whenever they're exposed to like sunlight or something, then they change back, and they don't have any clothes. Oh, granted, this is a kids' movie, so nothing is shown, but that's always interesting because you'd think they'd really go through a lot of clothes that way, when they turn back and stuff. So you kind of wonder what happened to their clothes. Now, this is based on a book by Jane Lyons, and so I'm kind of curious. I do want to find that book, 100% Wolf by Jane Lyons, and maybe in there it could clarify like what happens, in the process, and if maybe eventually they get their clothes back some way. I don't know. That was one of the points that confused me. Um, it is a kids movie, but of course there is some some toilet humor, of course. Them being dogs, of course. Um, let's see when. Okay, so basically, when Freddy, as this poodle, first meets Batty, then they're like in the middle of the highway, and Batty tries to save Freddy, and all the cars are whizzing by. Um, and this is also an Australian pick. I think that an Australian film. And why I add that, I don't know. But anyway, she has an Australian accent. Batty, or the actress that plays Batty, the dog. And so anyways, Freddy decides that he will follow Batty, and she's like, well, nose to butt, and so anyway, they stop short, and she's like, too much nose, and he's like, too much butt, and then stuff like that. Um, then there are some, of course, dog urination jokes, of course, and there is actually a scene where Freddy actually pees for like 30 seconds because he'd been holding it in for hours or maybe days, even hours. And it's all played up for laughs, of course. And again, nothing is shown, but you do like see the urine trail. But overall, it's all pretty tame. The movie is, by my accounts, pretty good. I like werewolf movies. I mean, I really even like the really scary ones, like Howling 4, and I don't think I've ever seen The Howling, but let's see, Never Cry Wolf, I think was one of them. Was another one. That one had Kevin Sorbo in it. That was a good werewolf movie. Except Kevin Sorbo was like, this world famous hunter or something, and he like gets gutted by a werewolf or something. So it's like, oh, okay, well, anyways. But yeah, I'm a big fan of werewolf movies, and the different ways that they transform. In this movie, basically, it's spontaneous. In Van Helsing, that's the one with Hugh Jackman, the live action one, not the animated one. Basically, the werewolf is inside of you, so they pull off their skin, and the werewolf is like, like that. In the Howling 4, I believe they like become a complete total puddle, and then I almost said dragon. The werewolf forms out of that, out of a little slime, which was really interesting. But then all the werewolves end up looking like furrow-bogs from World of Warcraft, so that's kind of like, oh, I wonder if World of Warcraft knows that you stole their costumes. Anyways, furrow-bogs are pretty cool. And so yeah, this was a really good movie. I mainly rented it because I was interested in to see their take on werewolf lore, and I have to say that it's pretty cool. Since it's Freddy's first time changing into a werewolf, or then he goes through contortions that some people might find kind of disturbing. And when he changes back, he goes through the same contortions. But yeah, it's basically spontaneous. There's a puff of smoke, and then they're all of a sudden werewolves, which I thought was pretty good. And the character models are really nice too. But yeah, I definitely wanted to do a follow-up to my other review of 100% Wolf. And so yeah, basically to give my actual thoughts. I will definitely put spoilers in the title so that people don't click on it that don't want spoilers to this movie. Overall, this movie was really, really good. It had a good, positive overall message, and to me, that's important. And more than makes up for the toilet humor, and which you'll basically find in basically every children's movie these days. Even the ones put out by Disney and stuff like that, they'll all have like some semblance of that somewhere within the script. But anyways, yeah, I do highly recommend this movie. A lot of people probably don't like this movie, but I think that it was actually done pretty well. And it's worth a watch. It has a good overall message, and that, to me, is really important. It's hard to find movies that have a really good overall message these days. But kind of like the Mulan movie, the live action Mulan movie also had a really good message, similar to this one, as in being yourself and stuff like that. Very, very good. And I did a review of that movie as well. If you haven't seen that, then check that out too. But yeah, I highly recommend this movie, 100% Wolf. And I'll be trying to track down a copy of the book, the original book, and see how it compares to the movie. I'm thinking that it doesn't compare much at all from what I've read from some of the comments on the trailer that I saw. They're like, oh, this is nothing like the book. But, and that it ended differently, or maybe it ended darker. I don't know. But, we'll see. I might have to do a review of that book. But anyways, with all that being said, I highly recommend this movie, and if you find it, you should watch it. I think that it's basically streaming probably somewhere by now. This is by Viva Kids, I believe, or something like that. It doesn't say on the disc, but anyways, yeah. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, wait, did I forget to say it? I think I forgot to say the thing. Okay. But then again, that's just my opinion, and you can either take my opinion or leave it. Either way is fine. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe and ring that bell so you know when I upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, all that information will be in the description down below. As always, thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.